everyone. Ken Tumolo with Tumolo Financial. This month's Tumolo talk has to do with protection of spouse. I get the question quite a bit. What do I do if I were to pass earlier? Will my spouse be okay? Well, first off, when I get that question, it's really okay. Well, what do the numbers look like? We always want to do the Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup, project out, where you're going to be, both you and your spouse. And this actually could be protection of a child too, because those of you that are single, sometimes the goal is to get money over to a child or children. Could even be a child that has special needs. So it's I want to say it's protection of, well, how do we move the things along to protect the people that we love is probably what I should have did. But we'll go protection of spouse because a lot of the little things that are out there, I'll touch on that, and I'll touch on a little bit more than that as we go. So the first thing that comes to mind when we're looking at protecting someone, first off, I would say though, is if the retirement checkup shows that you're okay, even if one of you were to pass, sometimes the need for life insurance is minimal, if at all. So it really depends on your situation and how you saved leading up to retirement. But let's just say you didn't save quite enough, or your worry was, okay, well, as I go through retirement, I'm going to spend my retirement funds, but I want to leave something behind for my kids. Or if I were to pass away, I want to make sure my spouse has more than enough to get through retirement. Then life insurance is actually a pretty good tool. Keep in mind, though, that with life insurance, the older we get, the more expensive the premium is. So it doesn't quite work for everyone, but it's out there as a possible option is what I want to say. So there's a few different types: whole, universal, term. Term is the cheapest, covers a period of time. So sometimes that's all you need to bridge a certain period of time through retirement. And then after that, you know that the funds would actually take care of the person you want to take care of. Long-term care insurance, I'm just going to add that in on this point because when you start to talk about protecting spouse, one of the worries is, and when I get older, if I go into a nursing home, it's going to cost this, it's going to go right through all of our assets. Sometimes long-term care insurance is the solution for that. Again, numbers, when you put together anything with life insurance or long-term care insurance, the numbers have to make sense. And what I mean, after you add all the premium in, it actually has to give you a benefit. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. So it's not just like, oh, let's just go buy this because someone told us it's good to buy. The numbers have to make sense. It actually has to be worth it for you to go out and buy these things. A few things just to take note of: Social Security. When one passes away, the higher Social Security is kept by the spouse, and the lower Social Security goes away. So we always want to figure that in the planning. Sometimes when I'm planning out retirement for a couple and we're looking at the numbers, sometimes what we'll do is we'll actually delay one of the Social Securities, and reason why is it'll pay out more. And it might be because you didn't quite save enough for retirement. So we have you start one Social Security, delay one, and then later on, it's giving protection to the spouse, meaning if one were to pass, there's a higher payout on the social and it gets them through. So a couple things to think about. Social Security comes into play when figuring out when to take it, early versus later. The part of protecting each other comes into play. That also comes into play for a single person, because sometimes you actually start Social Security a little bit earlier to protect or preserve the assets, I should say, so that if something happens earlier, or then those assets would pass along to a loved one. So a lot of things to consider in retirement. I'm just touching on a few things today. Monthly pension options for those of you that have pensions. Sometimes what you'll do is you'll take a contingent option, meaning if you're to pass away, it continues on for your spouse. That a lot of times is better than going out there and buying life insurance when you start to look at the cost of doing that. And it's peace of mind where you don't have to worry. You just know, if I pass away, I know my spouse is okay because they'll continue to get this. And I know what's left on the assets, they'll be good. So that's why I say that Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup. When we're doing that, we actually look at the grim reports too. I know it's a happy time retirement, but we also have to make sure that if something bad were to happen, that a person's going to be okay. One other thing I'll add in when we're looking at protecting a spouse, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, is how much will be left in those accounts if a person were to pass at a certain point. And there are some tools, annuities. Some of them have death benefit riders on them. We can actually use them for reasons of protecting a spouse. Retirement accounts. Sometimes it's just the fact that you saved enough, so we know if one were to pass, we were able to draw more from those accounts to get to make sure the other person is okay. And sometimes, believe it or not, and this is where things, depending on how much you saved in accounts and the cost of your lifestyle, sometimes actually both husband and wife taking Social Security early actually will give protection later. I know that sounds odd, but sometimes you're taking the Social Security to preserve the account so they stay up higher. And if one were to pass and they're 70, there's more to work with. Because remember, it goes down to one Social Security, and having a little bit more to work with gets the other person through retirement. So sometimes we have to get creative, meaning if we were to look at life insurance and it's just too expensive, sometimes we're doing certain things with Social Security to make sure the other person is okay. So yeah, retirement, there's a lot of things to think about. It's just not about, oh, let's throw a whole bunch of money in an account and try to make as much as we can. At that point, when you get to retirement, it's really getting through thinking about Social Security, thinking about protecting each other. How should we be taking pensions? And then, of course, there's always the tax piece. How do we save a bit on taxes? I like retirement planning. It's fun for me. I know it's not for everyone, but it's something you can call us for. That Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup. Just give us a call at the 860-650-3005, and we do it complimentary. So other than that, thanks. Look forward to seeing you at the next Tumolo Talk.